another divestment disaster! Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA from the Black Boule in this action-packed all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Better get the coleslaw, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue. A black woman is on her way back to the United States after traveling to Pakistan, where she was rejected by a teenager she planned to marry.
And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. Trending right now, tonight, you may have seen this woman on your timeline. I did. Onijah Andrew Robinson. She's currently in Pakistan and gone viral for not only refusing to pack her bags and head back home, but also for standing on business about money from their government.
What's the problem? What's the reason?
Go home.
What do you need right now?
My feet is swollen. I need 5,000 a week.
You need 5,000 a week? Who's give you 5,000? There's all are poor people.
Y'all better figure it out.
There's all are poor people. They are not the rich people.
Ask the government.
A lot of people have questions about her and what she's going through in Pakistan. Factor digital producer Ajibola Budaran is here to help fill in the blanks. Aji, what do we have here?
Well, first,
give us the beginning of the story.
Yes, okay. So this all started with Onijah. She had met a young man. So Onijah's 33. She met a 19-year-old from Pakistan online, and they started talking romantically. But what the guy didn't know was that she was actually catfishing and pretending to be a blonde woman. So they got married online, and she decided to travel to Pakistan to meet her husband. And when she got there, this wasn't who he was expecting. So he at first he was like, who is this person? This is not who I married. This is not the woman I married. But then he thought, well, maybe I can get a passport, get to America. And his family shut it down completely. And they ended up locking their doors and disappearing. Nobody in the neighborhood knows where they are. And that's when the story with Onijah starts, because now she's in this neighborhood in Pakistan. Everybody's wondering what she's doing here. She didn't want to speak to anybody initially. And then she would just kind of say, I'm looking for my husband. I'm not leaving till I get my husband. I'm not leaving till I get my husband. And then more people who were like humanitarians and people from the neighborhood became interested in the story and asking her, and she kind of became a celebrity to the point where you finally start seeing her having demands from the government.
And I saw her in a bank, in front of a bank of microphones. So
yes,
the media is really turning out covering this.
Yes, so it started out with people trying to help her. So people were trying to help her get plane tickets and just resources that she needed because she was stranded out there. But eventually, this area of Pakistan that she was in is not a very popular area. It's not a very metropolitan area. It's pretty small. So,
And they're saying we're not wealthy here either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they're not used to this type of attention. So having a woman from America is already one thing, but having this kind of eccentric woman with all these demands and this crazy story and being stranded, it just became a whole media circus out there.
Now, we heard, really quick though, there's an update that's breaking news.
So actually, reports are that she's actually on her way back to the United States right now on a flight after being out there for the extended period of time she was out there. So that is good, but up until that point, she had actually rejected multiple people attempting to buy her flights to get back to the United States. So she had a whole adventure out there in Pakistan while she was there.
And of course, we don't know that if this is true, but her son said something that would give us pause and concern about her welfare.
Yes. So her son actually made a video saying that his mother suffered from mental health crises and that she was not currently on her medication that she needed. So that might have, been part of the reason why she was making the demands that she was making or having some of the mannerisms that she had. And even while she was in Pakistan, they actually one of the days took her to a facility to get her mental evaluated, but she was released from that hospital at that point. But I mean, we do know that there may be some mental health problems in this case.
And that's according to her son. We're glad she's coming back to America, and if there is something that she needs, hopefully she'll get it here. Ajibola Budaran, thank you for joining us here on the Factor Uncensored Fox 26 web team.
Now, according to reports, 33-year-old Onijah Andrew Robinson, a black woman who has 2 children, flew all the way from New York to meet with 19-year-old Nadal Ahmed Memon, a Pakistani national who she had been chatting with online and had accepted a marriage proposal from, according to reports. And as she flew all the way from New York to Karachi, Pakistan, to meet with Nadal Ahmed Memon's entire family, she thought that she was going to be a part of their family and thought that they would approve of a marriage proposal that their son had made. However, the family did not approve of Onijah Andrew Robinson, and that left her stranded in Pakistan with an expired tourist visa. And after being left in Pakistan with this expired tourist visa, Onijah Andrew Robinson refused to leave the country and return to the United States. No, she decided to continue looking to try to pursue this relationship with Nadal Ahmed Memon, camping outside of his home to the point where the family basically were forced to basically abandon their home and lock up their home because this woman basically was outside of their home, allegedly stalking the entire family, hoping to force the family into supporting the marriage proposal that the son had made. Now, after going out here and making this whole situation, Onijah Andrew Robinson's story came to light when an Pakistani activist and YouTuber highlighted her story on social media, and this is where the government got involved and looked to help her with her expired visa and arrange a ticket for her to return to the United States. However, Onijah Andrew Robinson refused to take that help and began making demands of the government, making press conferences regarding her situation, demanding money from the family of Ahmed Memon, and also demanded Pakistani citizenship, and also claimed later on to be married to Ahmed Memon, even though there was no official marital record, and claimed that she and him were planning to move to Dubai and start a family. And as time went on, her demands became even more disturbing as she demanded more money, demanding $100,000, including $20,000 from the Pakistani government. And basically, as she was questioned about this, she said it was against her religion to tell her business, even though in the religion of Islam, a woman is supposed to submit to her husband and submit to the authority of men. And this is where the Pakistani government started to realize that there was something wrong with Onijah Andrew Robinson. And after realizing that there was something wrong, they admitted her into the psychiatric department at Karachi's postgraduate hospital for a mental health evaluation. And after corresponding with her son, Jeremiah Andrew Robinson, this is where the Pakistani government found out that Onijah Andrew Robinson had a bipolar disorder, and this is where she was sent back to the United States after spending several months in Pakistan. Now, the Pakistani officials see the behavior of Onijah Andrew Robinson as isolated behavior as related to mental health issues. However, when I take a critical examination of Onijah Andrew Robinson's behavior, it definitely fits the pattern and profile for Western feminist indoctrinated women that I talk about in my book, The Woman Crisis, and it also fits the pattern of behavior of modern black women that I talk about in my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. And what happened here with Onijah Andrew Robinson is that this woman definitely has a mental health disorder that has her believing in a rose-colored reality where she basically created a world around this 19-year-old man, Nadal Ahmed Memon, and created an entire world around this man where she created the delusion where she believed that she was going to be able to fall in love with this man and go and be able to marry him. And she basically believed this even though she has 2 children from other relationships here in America. and basically walk away from those relationships to fly all the way to Karachi, Pakistan, and after flying all the way to Karachi, Pakistan, to get involved with this 19-year-old young man. She thought she was going to be able to marry this man, not really understanding the customs and traditions of Islam. Because under the customs and traditions of Islam, a man is supposed to be the head of the family, and when a man makes a marriage proposal, again, it is not just the man making the proposal like it is here in the West, and people just get married like that. No, according to Islamic culture, the family has to approve of the marriage, and once the family did not approve of the marriage, that would be the end of it as related to things, because again, Islamic culture is a patriarchal culture, and the women basically submit to the authority of the men, and they respect the judgments of the men. Unfortunately, this is where the feminist indoctrination of Onijah Andrew Robinson comes in, because instead of respecting the authority of those men, she basically looked to try to enforce this agreement, looked to try to enforce this agreement the same way Western women try to go out here and impose their way on people, not understanding when it comes to many of the Eastern cultures, that's not how it operates. No, when it comes to the Eastern cultures, when the rule of the men is the standard, and again, once the men in the family, and again, usually the marriages have to be signed off by the father in any case, and again, if the father doesn't approve of the marriage, again, the deal is basically done, and the woman basically has to put a period at the end of things and look for another suitor. And that's what this black woman did not want to do. No, this black woman did not want to honor the rules that are social rules of Islam. No, what she wanted to do was be the belligerent black woman, and that belligerence was shown by the behavior she participated in that showed how her behavior was becoming more erratic, because as the family basically rejected her marriage, the marriage proposal her son made, this is where she decided to escalate her behavior by camping outside of Ahmed Memon's family home, and basically camped outside of that home, possibly, again, I believe, looking to start something with these people, and again, possibly got into some back and forth. This is just me speculating, because I understand how some of these black women are. They think that they can impose their will on other people and other people's cultures. However, that's not how it operates in Muslim countries. No, in a Muslim country, again, the women submit to the authority of the men. The women respect the authority of the men. And things had to, again, I believe, and this is me speculating, had to escalate to the point where the family felt like they were in peril if they had to leave that home and basically abandon that home. That's possibly what I believe happened. Now, some people would say, you know, these people were being racist in some way, but I don't know as related to this situation. Again, when a woman gets told no, in an Eastern country, they basically accept the judgments of the men and the decisions of the men. But this woman, in her belligerence, again, was possibly making these Pakistani people really nervous, because they've seen all the stereotypes regarding the loud, argumentative, and belligerent black woman. And as they saw this woman acting like the loud, argumentative, and belligerent black woman stereotypes that they saw, this is where they possibly felt like they had to flee for their lives. And this is where people possibly got concerned. And this is where an activist called Zafar Abbas highlighted Onijah Andrew Robinson's story on social media, and this is where the governor, Carmen Khan-Tesori, looked to extend his support by helping her with her visa and allowing her to return to the United States. However, what happened with Onijah Andrew Robinson is, again, the belligerent black woman did not want to leave Pakistan in an ignominious fashion and did not want to leave and lose her face, because her whole rose-colored reality of getting involved with this Pakistani man had been shattered, and with that, she would have to leave Pakistan and return to the United States. Return to the United States in a humiliating fashion where she would be seen just like many of the swirlers and divestors who basically have divestment disasters and basically show that they are not capable of having a relationship with the black men in America, like the previous men who she had 2 children with, and couldn't have it with a non-black man, basically because the family did not approve, and the family wasn't going to approve of that, especially for their young 19-year-old son. If you look at it critically, they weren't going to look at and have their son, again, their progeny and their heir, out here getting involved in an interracial relationship, because that would make the entire, according to these countries, again, lose face. And again, when it comes to them, again, you have this older black woman who isn't a virgin, because when it comes to Islamic culture, again, the men are looking for a virgin woman, and when they assert that this woman was 33 years old, already had 2 kids by possibly 2 different men, this was a wrap as related to the family, because again, according to Islam, the men, again, when they take a wife, are supposed to take a virgin, and they are looking for virgins to be their wives. And this is why the family did not approve, because this woman did not meet the standard for marriage in Pakistan, which is completely different than the standard here in America. Now, here in America, a Western woman can go out here and get married after having sex with other men and having other children with other men. But in the Eastern countries, like those who follow Islam, the standard is a man is supposed to get a virgin and be married to a virgin, because the virgin is the woman who, again, will be bonded to that man spiritually, and once he has sex with her, again, he's basically the only one who has been entered her body, and his spirit and DNA are released inside of that woman, and that woman is the only one bonded to him. And again, that is the standard of the religion of Islam. And again, when they heard that this woman already had 2 kids and also was a black woman, that was a wrap again. But that didn't stop this woman from trying to push the whole strong, independent narrative that she was indoctrinated into by feminism. And as she tried to push that narrative, this is where her delusions and her rose-colored reality became more and more shattered. And as those delusions became more and more shattered, this is where Onijah Andrew Robinson's behavior became more and more erratic, as she looked to try to force this reality to come to life, and again, looked to go out here and make more and more bizarre and disturbing demands, looked to make more and more disturbing demands by telling lies, again, telling lies about how she was going to be was married to Ahmed Memon and was looking to move to Dubai and start a family. I mean, why would this man, again, who already is a Pakistani citizen, look to move to Dubai and start a family with a woman who already has 2 children, possibly by 2 other black men? I mean, why would that man want to go out here and start a family with a woman who is almost twice his age? Critical questions many people would be asking, but when in the delusions of this woman, she believed that she could go out here and do this and move to Dubai, and when that didn't work, what she wanted to do was request more money, and even talked about possibly participating in some sort of activism. And again, as her behavior became more and more erratic, what happened here was this is where the Pakistani government started to realize that this woman basically was not acting in a logical fashion, and her emotions were becoming more and more erratic. And this is where they decided to put her in a psychiatric department and give her a mental health evaluation. And this is where her son came in and revealed the bipolar disorder that this woman had as related to things. And again, they talked about how they tried to convince her to return to the United States and return to the United States, but she would not listen because she was, again, the belligerent black woman. And again, her belligerence basically in the United States would be something that's accepted because that's part of the stereotypes about black women. But in Pakistan, they weren't having it. And again, since they weren't having it, what they did after evaluating her for a mental health evaluation, they put her back on a plane and sent her back to the United States, because in these Muslim countries, they have a completely different standard as related to the way they deal with women. And again, they don't play in them countries. And that's something many of the passport bros don't understand, and many of the women who call themselves going overseas don't understand. The culture over there is completely different. It's a completely different culture in these countries. And again, when it comes to the written and unwritten social rules of a Muslim country like Pakistan, the men set the standard. And since the men are the ones setting the standard, they are the ones who are going to say what goes on in that country, and the women just have to submit to the authority of those men. And if the women don't want to submit to their authority, they basically shut down any sort of behavior. And that was the rude awakening that this woman, Onijah Andrew Robinson, ran into. She ran into this whole situation because she thought she was going to go out here and be the sassy black woman who again looked to assert her authority on this family. But this family again understood that they basically did not have to deal with this, and again left her to the tender mercies of the government. And again, this government was basically kind as related to things, because in other Muslim countries, they the other countries out there, they don't really play with these black women, and they wind up in a rude awakening, like many people find out in Dubai, like many black women who have gone over to Dubai. But this whole case basically proves a point that the late David Carroll made, and when he proposed that our black women should be listed in the statistical DSM as a mental disorder. I don't know if it should go that far, but I believe that this woman's mental health disorders definitely fit what I talk about in my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, that's keeping many black women single in not understanding their role as a woman in God's order, not understanding how to respect the authority of men as related to God, not understanding how to submit to the authority of men, and not understanding how to respect men. Because this woman, after traveling all the way from the United States to Pakistan, thought she could go out here and pull these stunts that these Western women pull, and thought that that was going to run, and still continued to again escalate her behavior, not understanding the compassion that government was having on her. She was possibly looking to pull this, again, independent black woman stuff, but that stuff doesn't work in these other countries. Again, the Pakistani government basically had a lot of mercy on this woman, Onijah Andrew Robinson. Basically, went out here and had a lot of mercy on this woman. And again, that's what they had on her. But sadly, what happened with this woman is that she did not really appreciate the issues as related to things that she was making, because she could have basically left in a more humiliating fashion than she did. But the whole thing is that this woman's whole delusions basically are like those that I see of a lot of modern women, where, again, when they've had failed relationships with black men here in America, they create rose-colored realities as related to white and non-black men, hoping that they can go out here and divest from the black men, not understanding the problem is the way they were raised under white feminism. The way they were raised under white feminism they basically learned a lot of dysfunctional ideas, and again, learned a lot of dysfunctional ideas as related to white feminism, and think that they can apply them to the world. But the whole thing is, you can't really apply them to the real world because people ain't putting up with that stuff. No, they ain't putting up with that stuff as related to things. And a lot of these black women wind up with a rude awakening when they call themselves going out here and pursuing relationships with white and non-black men, because the problem and the common denominator is them. And again, this woman's problems were exacerbated by her mental health issues, because she basically was, again, as I believe, looking to try to make this relationship work, not understanding that the problem was, again, she was looking to, again, have a relationship with a guy, again, who was younger than she was. And that's by design. I talk about this in The Woman Crisis. A lot of times when these women get involved with men their age and things don't work, what they want to do is get with a younger man and get power over that man, because they fear that if this man takes the role of a leader, what will happen is that they won't be able to make the relationship work. But because this family was in charge and again looked out for their son, they kept their son from being dominated and subjugated by this black woman whose belligerence basically, again, proved more stereotypes as related to things. And this basically made it where people in this country, again, did their best to help this woman. But this woman was a woman in crisis, part of the 70% of black women who are single, because they don't know how to their role as a woman in God's order, don't know how to be a helpmeet to a man. And because she didn't know how to be a helpmeet to a man, what happened was the people in Pakistan basically sent her packing back to the West in that ignominious fashion that she was trying to avoid. And now this woman, Onijah Andrew Robinson, is back here in America. Basically, one of these women, again, who will be one of the 70% of black women are single. And I'm hoping that her family basically can get her some help and get her on her medication or get her under supervision, because this woman's behavior is extremely dangerous. And with it being extremely dangerous, she basically will be in a situation where she might sadly, tragically wind up like Eleanor Bumpurs. Go look up her story. And again, if nobody looks out for this woman, her being a woman in crisis will not be a divestment disaster, but will possibly end up in a tragedy. And again, I don't want to see that happen to this woman. She definitely does need to get some help, because again, she's not just a woman in crisis, she's a woman who needs serious help, and needs serious help because there's a whole lot of issues that this woman has. And again, those issues basically are the ones that basically led to her participating in this stunt that definitely wouldn't have worked, because again, no Islamic family was ever going to go out here and support their son, again, their seed, their progeny, and again, their heir going out here and marrying a woman who wasn't a virgin. That's where this woman, again, got it all twisted. And again, she got it all twisted because she was living in a rose-colored reality that basically was not the real world. And that basically turned her into yet another woman in crisis. Now, if you want to learn how many women like Onijah Andrew Robinson wound up on this road to having a dysfunctional life, you can pick up my book, The Woman Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Woman Crisis at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to learn why so many black women like this wind up in a paradigm of failure here and abroad, you can pick up my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find Why 70% of Black Women Are Single at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback. From the author of the critically acclaimed book, The Man Crisis, comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women have become lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Get your copy of The Woman Crisis in paperback at Amazon.com and online booksellers today. Now available for the first time in paperback, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Learn all the reasons why so many Black women can't find a husband and why 70% of Black women are single. Get your copy of Why 70% of Black Women Are Single on Amazon.com today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.